Gladiator 2 is a really exciting movie. While it might not be as special as the first one for everyone, it is still a great movie that deserves to be watched along with the first one. It's been over 20 years since Ridley Scott made another movie about a strong fighter who uses a sword and fights for the people. Gladiator 2 felt like it would never be made, but then a few months ago, they showed us a sneak peek of it. This trailer showed us a movie that felt different from all the superhero movies we see all the time, and I think a lot of us are getting a bit tired of those. Even though Gladiator hasn't been on TV since the year 2000, the director, Scott, had a special surprise ready for us all this time. In Gladiator 2, the director Scott takes us back to the exciting and dangerous world of ancient Rome, just like he did in the first movie from 2000. He wants to show us the same thrilling stories and big battles again. Gladiator is a famous movie that has exciting fights and strong feelings. Now, there's a new movie called Gladiator 2 that takes us back to that tough world, and everyone is really excited to see it. Is this new movie good on its own, or does it just copy the same things from the first one? The new movie gives fans of the first movie exactly what they wanted. It has exciting action, lots of cool details that show what life was like a long time ago, and carefully planned fight scenes. There are battles, sword fights, and all the drama of ancient Rome. Gladiator 2 takes place 16 years after Maximus has died. The story is about a new character, a young man named Lucius, who is played by Mescal. Lucius is a young boy who is the son of Lucilla and the nephew of a mean ruler named Commodus. When Maximus, a brave hero, fought to make things right and get rid of the bad leaders in Rome, Lucius was just a kid. Lucius lives happily with his family in a place called Numidia. But one day, a mean general named Marcus Acacius, played by Pedro Pascal, comes and takes over their city, making Lucius a slave. Lucius remembers a brave hero named Maximus, played by Russell Crowe, and decides he wants to fight as a gladiator for a powerful man named Maximus, played by Denzel Washington. Lucius wants to stand up against the rulers, Emperors Caracalla, played by Fred Heckinger, and Geta, played by Joseph Quinn. Lucius keeps thinking about Maximus, who he looks up to as a hero. Because of this, he decides to go on a journey to make things right and find his own way to be a good person. This is a story about a young man growing up in ancient Rome, which was a beautiful but tough place. It shows a new side of what it was like to be a gladiator, a fighter in the arena. Lucius isn't a soldier or a slave. Instead, he's a person who has to choose between being powerful and being loyal to his friends. This makes him take a different journey than Maximus, and he has to think carefully about what is right and wrong, just like in the first movie. Scott is really good at making beautiful pictures and showing details from a long time ago. Every scene is made with great care, from the beautiful buildings in Rome to the dusty arenas where battles took place. The fancy costumes, detailed backgrounds, and beautiful places help us feel like we're really in the story. This makes everything feel big and real, which fans of the original will really enjoy. The exciting parts are just as amazing. Just like the first movie, the person who made this film shows the excitement of battles really well. They use close-up pictures and smart editing to make it feel like you were right there in the action. This time, the battles are different. They are tougher, more exciting, and keep you on the edge of your seat. Gladiators are fighters who use all kinds of weapons, like swords and shields, and sometimes even silly things like fighting with baboons. In a big show, Scott makes the arena even more exciting by filling it with water that has sharks in it for a battle. Mescal is very different from Crove, and that helps him a lot. It makes Lucius a quiet character who has a funny, clever side. His acting is really special and adds something new and interesting to the story of Gladiator. Maximus is a simple warrior who knows what he wants and fights for it. Lucius, on the other hand, comes from a rich background and is struggling to understand the bad things that come with being powerful. His story is more about figuring out where he belongs in a world that likes fighting and being sneaky. Mescal plays a character named Lucius who shows both bravery and feelings. This makes him a special kind of hero that people can cheer for, because he fights not just against outside problems, but also his own feelings inside. In Gladiator 2, the main ideas are similar to the first movie, but they look more closely at what it means to remember and think about what people did in the past. It asks us how we deal with the actions of those who lived before us. Lucius, Adventure is a way to remember how brave Maximus was, and it's also about him trying to find out if he can be his own person instead of just following in the footsteps of his family's tricky history. This inner conflict brings something new to the story and shows different sides of the old Roman world. The other actors in the story include Washington, who takes over a part that Oliver Reed used to play. In this role, Washington shows a new and interesting side of the character that we haven't seen before. He's clever and smart. Joaquin Phoenix played a character named Commodus, and he was really interesting. Now, there are two new characters who are co-emperors, Geta, played by Joseph Quinn, and Caracalla, played by Fred Heckinger. Their costumes and makeup tell a lot about them, even more than their acting does. Connie Nielsen is back to play Lucilla, who is Lucius' mom. She is probably the best at being a girl character in the movie. Gladiator 2 takes people back to the Rome they know, but it still has some of the same problems that many sequel movies have. Sometimes, certain parts of a story feel like they are repeating things from before instead of being fresh and exciting. Also, things can slow down a bit while the story tries to create feelings that are just as strong as the ones from the last story. Some parts of the story remind us a lot of the old one, which might make fans happy, but sometimes it takes away from Lucius's own adventure by focusing too much on Maximus. Gladiator 2 is a really cool movie that looks great and tells a touching story. It remembers the first movie but also adds some exciting new things to it. Gladiator 2, directed by Ridley Scott, has great acting and a story that shows the struggle between being part of a family and being your own person. Even though it has a few small mistakes, it's still a really good movie that fans of history stories will enjoy. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more videos, reviews and explanations.